Hello, everybody. Catchy13th with Catchy Gaming, and today Microsoft announced that they are raising the prices on their games and hardware. Now, this seemed to have caught a lot of people by surprise, and they seem to be acting surprised by this whole entire thing. But this has clearly been coming for a while. I mean, specifically with the hardware after all the tariffs. I mean, this definitely was going to happen. People said it was going to happen. Remember, Xbox does not make any money on their hardware. They've never made any money on any of their consoles. So it's no surprise that they would raise the price of their console in order to stem the loss they already would get from selling one of their consoles. Also, although they haven't happened in the US yet, I fully expect PlayStation to increase their hardware prices as well. But it has already happened in overseas where they've seen multiple price hikes across the board. Some people are blaming Nintendo with the price of Mario Kart World, but remember that's only one game. The others so far haven't gone that high except for the special editions. While all of Microsoft's first-party games are set to be $80 in the future. There's a huge difference there. Not to mention, we haven't seen any numbers from Mario Kart World, so we have no idea if Nintendo will stick with that. It's what we like to call putting the cart before the horse. For all we know, this is a strategy to try and get more people to sign up for Xbox PC Pass / Game Pass. For reasons I don't know, apparently their numbers have stagnated. They went from 25 million to 35, and the needle hasn't moved in years. Even with Call of Duty coming to Game Pass, it increased it by 1%. That's it, just 1%. It wouldn't surprise me if this is what they're trying to do to get those numbers up, because they need a lot more people to subscribe in order to make this business model even viable. I mean, heck, I don't even constantly subscribe to it. I do maybe 1 month at a time. I did it a couple months back. I can't remember for what game. I think maybe Indiana Jones, and I played a couple other things, and then I stopped, and then I did it again for Expedition 33. And I tried out a little bit of Oblivion, and I'm not going to do it again because it'll also encompass Doom the Dark Ages as well with that same month. And I probably won't bother resubscribing for a very long time. Mainly because I don't think any of Microsoft's games are really worth owning. Expedition 33 is a totally different story, but I will take advantage of it being on Xbox Game Pass at the time. Maybe in the future I will buy it because I actually think it is an excellent game. Probably not through Xbox, but I will probably be getting it. And it's also not just the hardware in the games, it's their accessories as well. Again, that makes sense because tariffs will affect everything. Why they're going across the whole entire world, I don't know exactly, but it does make sense in the US. Although I did make a video, or I was actually going to make a video saying if Microsoft did this, people would be laughing their asses off. I know I am because they're trying to sell their Galaxy 2 terabyte version for $700. They can't even sell 30 million of these things, and they think increasing the price is somehow going to help. I mean, like I said, they probably don't have much of a choice. They don't make money on it, and they would just incur even bigger losses on it. So I don't exactly blame them. But I can't imagine people forking over $700 for the 2 terabyte Xbox Series X. So it's just a matter of time before Sony catches up. I mean, for all I know, they might surprise us and eat the cost on that. I don't know. I mean, they already said that they're towards the end of the life of their PS5, which is kind of nuts. I mean, it is 5 years into the console's life, but still, I feel like console lives are probably going to get longer due to the nature of programming and what you're going to get in terms of graphical improvements over time. So I'm doubting it's actually near the end of it. I mean, they're still making games for the PS4 because their player base for that is larger than the PS5. Another thing that I found kind of dumb on the internet is people being surprised that the Switch 2 dock doesn't work with the Switch 1. Now, I saw a couple of really bad arguments around that. Man, they're like, well, it just uses a USB-C, which just hurt my brain a little bit. This isn't an iPhone or a phone from 10 years ago where they all had USB-Cs and still use USB-Cs. They're comparing a cord to a dock, which isn't a very good comparison. It's because a lot of people don't actually understand technology. They use it, but they don't actually understand it. It reminds me of this particular news story back from the 90s when they were switching from the NES to the Super NES.
I'm going to say no, and I'm going to explain to him how people market things to make you spend more money.
It reminds me of people like that. They don't actually know how technology works other than you plug it in. I mean, I could get into some detail of why, because different hardware, mainly in terms of the chip architecture, because they were using assembly, and because they're using assembly, you have to know what registers to use. And I'm pretty sure the registers and what they did and how they function on the NES versus the Super NES are completely different, and that's why they're not backwards compatible, as a sort of shorthand explanation for that reason. But in terms of the Switch 1 dock and the Switch 2 dock, so I don't know if they're just under the impression it's just a bunch of connections with a USB-C. No, there's actually chips and circuit boards inside those docks. There's a reason why third-party docks never became popular with the Switch, mainly because they fried your Switch. And if you wanted to actually get one to function, you had to take apart your current dock and put chips and hardware from your dock into the third-party stand. So all you're doing is just buying a hunk of plastic, really, an overpriced hunk of plastic. So yes, those chips are not compatible with each other, not to mention the shape of the Switch 2, which people also seem to fail to take into account. And it's just absolutely baffling how people make it through life without even knowing some basic information about this, or even considering simple things like the shape of the Switch 2. Don't know why it bothers me, but it just does, and I felt like adding this to my whole entire Xbox raises its price video. And lastly, let's cover some game media things, because, well, if I'm already gonna stick my toes into something outside of just pure gaming, I guess technically still is, but not in the same way. Giant Bomb and Polygon have both suffered massive layoffs. And again, people are acting surprised when we've seen this coming from a mile away for a very long time. It's a secret to no one that these sites have long since outlived their prominence. I mean, I'm not doing hot on YouTube. I know where I stand in this. I just do this for fun at this point. But even I could tell you where Giant Bomb and Polygon stood in the hierarchy of games journalists. People don't care what they have to say anymore. They go to YouTubers, not like me, but more people with opinions they agree with, or say things they particularly care about, or share opinions and tastes with in terms of games. Not to mention, writing has sort of taken a huge downturn. I don't know how much video content either of these have been putting out. I feel like Giant Bomb probably put out more than Polygon, but I can't say for sure because I don't go to their sites ever. Not even out of curiosity. I mean, I actually go out of my way to avoid Polygon and Giant Bomb. I just totally forgot they even existed. I think I saw them once or twice and went, nah, okay, whatever, and moved on with my life. Didn't watch or read anything they had to say because none of their articles ever made it into any searches or anything that I'm interested in terms of gaming or just life in general. And let's just not hide the fact that Polygon makes absolutely terrible articles, a lot of them clickbait in order to enrage people and to get them to click. I don't think I need to point out specifically which ones, but that's pretty obvious what they're trying to do. And it looks like that strategy didn't work out. And at this point, I expect Kotaku to be following shortly after. Maybe sometime later this year, maybe next year, who knows. Anyways, if you made it this far, thanks for watching. Have a good one.